Fab 2.0 begins now. And I think last week we predicted it pretty damn good, to be honest, except for some of the small parts. So today we're going to talk about pretty much Fab 2.0 and what we think about it. Sorry we didn't release a immediate video 1 hour after it was released, but we're going to do it tonight. Outcast Haven Podcast starts now. So I think we'll just kind of run down the whole Fab 2.0 list of what's happening, what's going on. I mean, the general first edition, I mean, it's James White said it doesn't work. We've said it doesn't work. I don't think, I thought it was dead at about Tales of Aria that there was enough product. I watched little Rudy today. He did a hour-long video, which was perfect while I was doing my work. You can just kind of listen to the background. He had some interesting takes on it. He was not happy about the 125,000 boxes. I guess that doesn't bother me any as a player. I don't really care about how many boxes are released. I don't know. He was a little doom and gloom, but thought it would work. So we'll just kind of run through everything and take it point by point. So first point is just basically first edition is gone. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
I like it. I think the reorganized way of doing the rarities is something we talked about, and I think it's just plain better, because the issue, there was a weird thing happening with the last couple sets with first edition versus unlimited, which was rainbow foils were holding the same price as cold foils, and honestly were probably more rare because people just weren't opening unlimited product. They were all opening first edition, and everybody had cold foil equipment, so it was no big deal. Like, right, it just made cold foils less special, which is the opposite of what they want as part of their kind of company release design.
Yeah.
And I think going to this model where cold foils come in the same set but are 3 times as rare is just better. It's like objectively better because it makes the rarity and the special nature of those cards what it should be, which is more rare and better.
Anything else, Dane?
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess I kind of get, like, if you were more leaning one versus the other, if you could not care about cold foil at all and like just wanted unlimited. But I mean, I think probably more it hurts people that only cared about cold foil or like wanted to like hunt those. Like, just have to buy more product now to get the same amount, which just makes it more rare, which I think makes it hold value better. But yeah. You're not gonna find any gripes off my for this change. The only thing I don't like is the weapon thing, but that's a separate piece.
That's farther down.
We'll get to that part.
So when it comes to I guess my big question, and this is what I'm always most interested to see people's thoughts on and hear what everybody else's opinions are. So this is like hey, if you're listening, this is like a great thing to comment on, is what everyone thinks of the historical set. What are you guys' thoughts on how they're going to do the historical set?
So first thing I said, and this is the elitist opinion, I will not have a white card in my deck. I will, if I know the person and I'm good friends with them, I was going to say I will scrutinize and harass if somebody does have a white card, but I know how everybody takes my opinions. It's like, oh my God, it's a new player and you're making fun of them. No, if I know them and I generally harass them on a weekly basis, I'll harass them more if I see a white border card because it's funny. I think it's very good for the game to have white border cards. I personally will not run them.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance for the game. Yeah, it's an important thing to exist. You guys think it'll hurt the resale value of like the black border cards or the first edition and unlimiteds?
I mean, very minimally. I think that because I don't think that the white border, the ones that you're hunting, I think you're gonna run into a lot more people being like nitpicky about it than others. Like I will probably, if it's cheap enough, which I'm not even sure that it's gonna be, but I'll pick up a white border tunic. You know, like I'll pick up, like, so I don't have to swap between decks, and like because I have 3 different decks now and 2 of them use tunic. It's like keeping track of all of that. It's like it might be nice just to have white border. I don't know. Depends on what this history pack reprint value looks like.
See, that's the thing that I guess where I don't understand where people are coming from. Like you always have your doom and gloomers in communities who everything that happens is a bad thing. Like there's like no positive. I'm very confused at the people who are like, this is going to destroy the market. Like there goes card value. It's like there are 9 legendaries, and like there are 9 legendaries that they're putting in the set, which means that it's not going to be a gimme that you're going to get the best one or even one that you want, right? Like there's no, so like I don't know why the doom and gloom automatically happens where people are like, oh, it's going to tank value, CNCs are going to be $30. It's like no, black border CNCs are still going to be $75 card.
I don't think it touches the black border value card.
I think it will, but I think it's like $5 or $10. I think they'll come down a tiny bit. I don't think they will come down to a point where people will want to buy them.
So I look at it this way. How much has Unlimited affected the price of first edition? Like a CNC, when Unlimited come out, CNC's first edition have continued to rise. The price has not been touched.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little different because like theoretically the first editions are worth so much money. A lot of people are going to let go of them and other people are never going to let go of them. But I think it's more the fact that even as more unlimited product, this is my mindset, right? Is we've seen the supply continue to grow. Like unlimited it's not like unlimited is sold out. You can go to a lot of stores. I know some people have problems getting it, but there are plenty of stores you can still go to and pick up unlimited. You can buy unlimited Arcane Rising boxes off of a lot of websites and off of TCG Player and stuff. And in spite of the fact that there's still plenty of product and they're still getting opened and people are grabbing packs of them and stuff, CNCs have gone from $110 card to a $90 card. So that, like, even in spite of the supply continuing to grow, in theory, they haven't adjusted really much at all. And I think the only reason they have adjusted is because just people aren't playing them as much. They don't fit necessarily in as many decks as they were. They're not like they're not demanding the meta, right? And Light and Strike is a prime example of a card that was, when it was being run as a 3 of in Briar at Nationals, it was $80 and now it's like $50.
Yeah,
the meta is determining those prices.
Yeah, the meta will always, it seems like, determine that a little bit. I just don't think the white border, I don't see it affecting card prices. If it does, it's such a minute amount.
Yeah.
I just don't see, I think it's really good because it's very distinctly different than the rest of the cards.
Yep.
And here's my opinion. How many people don't have a little bit of OCD and can look at hands that are mixed with black and white? I'm being dead serious. This isn't a joke.
Yes.
It's a legitimate thing that people are gonna be, oh, fine, I'm just gonna spend $20, $30 less and get my CNCs in white border. And then you're gonna have a hand and you're gonna be like, this just doesn't look good. Like, I don't want different colored cards in my hand. And it may sound like I'm joking. I'm being completely serious. That's gonna happen. There's people that just can't, and it's a disorder. So don't make fun of them. Number one, you freaking bastards out there making fun of people with issues. But yeah, I just don't see it affecting it. I could not, if I ran white border cards, the whole deck would have to be white border.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be a whole white deck. I can't mix and match. That just, I can't do it.
I think the other thing,
a pack or two just to look at them, but I Yeah,
So
I don't think we
think
can use them.
yeah, here's my thing is they haven't clarified exact rarity on like the legendaries, the majestics, like which one is going to be or how often they'll show up in packs. Like will it be the standard rate? Because if the standard rate is maintained, it's a legendary every 90 packs, correct? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So on average, one per box. These are um like 36 packs per display. So each box is going to have 36 packs, and the pack distribution in 10 cards per pack is going to be one rare or higher, one rare, and 8 commons, which means if we maintain the same rarity of a legendary per 90 packs, it's still going to take, in theory, 3 boxes of this stuff to find a legendary. And with 9 legendaries versus the standard like 4 or 5 or 6 that come in a set, it's actually going to be harder to find the legendary that you want, and the legendary is going to be more spread out, and there are going to be more majestics in the set than a standard set, as far as I can tell, because it's 427 cards in the set. So it's like, if anything, it's going to be harder to pull the card you want from this set than it has been any set up to this point in Fab, which means that the rarity of these cards might actually be higher. It might be harder to open a Command and Conquer in this than it was an Arcane Rising.
Mm-hmm.
So do the white borders actually end up costing more money? Like, because the rarity is actually higher? That would be hilarious, by the way.
I don't know that. I will say this. Part 2 of history packs is the black border in separate languages.
Black label. Yep.
Okay, here's an issue with this. This is the issue. There is going to be many people that speak English that are going to want some of these different language cards. I am one of them. I definitely would love to have some Spanish and German cards. Just would love to have those.
Are they gonna make that legal? Because I know like,
I don't
So-
care. I just
it's
want 'em.
not legal in other games.
So what's interesting about that,
Destiny
though,
was.
yeah, in Destiny they didn't have an issue with it. It's interesting though. So part of the reason that they don't typically make it legal is because card stock is different. Because like when you print in certain areas, you get different card stock. In this game, we've already passed that because we have the current sets you have can be sometimes printed in 3 different places. You have Japan, Belgium, and the US printing. So like the printing consistency isn't perfect in this game anyway. But what's interesting to note is that Matt Rogers played the Chinese Fate for Scenes in a tournament, and nobody said anything about it. It seemed to be fine. So like they've already had the existence of like a promo run in a tournament. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll like. I assume they're going to have to say something about that just for clarification's sake, because people are going to want to know. But I assume it would be you're going to have a blanket statement. So the challenge will be countries who get the history pack, because the history pack will be in their language, but the newest sets won't be in their language. So it would be weird to tell them like, hey, you can use your language CNCs, or you can use like your language CNCs, but you can't use the English versions of cards that you don't have access to. And then they're going to start getting to that weird area where it's like, so do you tell people from countries with the black label printing that they're allowed to use it, but then in countries that have the full sets in English or in their language they can't? So I would assume that at least for a while, until they get all of the sets printed in all of the languages, they're going to have to maintain this, that it's okay to just use whatever cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every card even. So like they're gonna have a mix. Like they're not gonna have like they're not
exactly.
The history pack doesn't have every card. So there's gonna be English cards still, regardless of them localizing it or not.
Exactly. So like you would assume that if the localized people can use a mixed version, you're not going to tell. It's like, oh well, if you speak English, you have to use all English cards. They're probably just going to say like, just use whatever cards as long as you know what they say.
Yeah, which is cool, and that was probably one of the most fun part of Destiny Worlds is trading cards with people of other languages, and I still have with some of them, and it was great. They wanted
it's cool
ours, and we had good trades, and just traded them card for card with the same writing. And I mean, I would love a couple packs of each of German and Spanish personally. So but you're just hoping people don't go and try to buy that product from those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause you
try to
want them
like
get
undercut the
product
market.
first.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yep.
let them get their product.
Yep.
For the love of God.
Dude, I
And
would take
then,
some German proxies, even of just
yeah,
like
it'd be fun.
yeah.
I just think it's cool. Hopefully there'll be enough product where we can buy some with them still getting their cards. So
Yeah.
The next part of Fab 0.20 would be my only gray area in the whole release would be in this section. And the next section is playing the game is more about competitive play, which it always has been and should be. Kitchen table TCGing is always a big part of any game. Is you need your
Mhm.
kitchen table players. It's a
Yep.
huge thing. So the part one is storytelling and more character development. I'm really hoping that goes along with the possible Netflix thing. I would love
Hmm.
a Netflix of this game. Number one, I wouldn't have to read any lore. It would just be told to me through imagery in speech coming out of my TV. So I wouldn't have to read or ask Blake to summarize what happened in the lore. So I would be very excited
Which
for something
I'm
like
just
that.
saying, my last one was great. I'd
It
like
was.
my Jason asked me for he's like too long didn't read for Morlock Hill. I was like, I got you.
Yeah, and you were the first person within 20 minutes of that release that called it Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
I've seen people say Super Saiyan after that. You were the first one that I heard say Dorinthia went Super Saiyan
Oh,
in the
yeah.
battle, which is
Yeah, it's fucking
which is
awesome.
amazing. I think it opens. Yeah, what I like about it is one, you can't bitch as much about more Room Blades coming now because they basically said, "Hey, guess what? There's a ton of these, Room Blade created creatures coming, and
Yeah.
there's not much you can do about it." But it also told me that we're going to see some more warriors, which I like the warrior character. I like how Dorinthia
Mhm.
um, and Bolton are so different. And so I'm excited for future warriors, which I think in Uprising, there's an uprising happening. You're going to
Yeah.
recruit warriors in an uprising, right? I mean, that seems pretty typical of an uprising is to
Mhm.
recruit more warriors to fight. So I'm very excited for that. So and then I know you guys love the lore.
Yeah.
The only part I don't like about this is the PvE. And this is going to be another Jason. You're no fun. Why I hate it's the same thing I said about cosplay. Just because I don't like it shouldn't impact your decision of loving it. There's lots of shit I do that you probably hate, and I really don't care. Right. So don't care what I think. And people say I'm no fun. I'm a lot of fun. I just don't like playing dress up. Other people love it. Live your life, live your best life. I don't enjoy it. You enjoy it. That's great. PvE, let's get this game to a point where we don't have a broken hero every set and then focus on another part of a game. Like develop the game how you want it and let's get those gears working and going before we're like, hey, here's a whole new experience. And I'm fine with a whole new experience, but let's get the main part of the game working first. That's my biggest gripe about the whole PvE thing.
Yep, that's fair too. I think that's a fair gripe. Like focus on the.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I don't think it's going to be as big of a hindrance. I don't think that they're going to like put much brain power into PvE like they have into like the competitive scene. I think that they have their priorities right. Like I don't think that their other more important aspects of the game are going to take a hit, so to speak. So I'm a little less worried about that than I think maybe you are, but that is just also a hope, like it's just I think
Yeah.
that they've shown us that they care about what's important, so not too concerned.
Yeah. I think I do think they kind of modeled it in a way that they seem to be leaning towards PvE being the social version of the game, because I think that that's kind of the key is every game has to decide like what their format is for social play. Or some games it's trying to create maybe like more janky formats. In Magic, there's obviously, I think the natural view in people in this game was, well, Magic's big format is Commander, where it's everybody versus everybody. So obviously Fab is going to do that with UPF. That's going to be our casual format. Problem is UPF can be okay at times, and it's fun for a good laugh every once in a while, but I personally feel like UPF needs a little bit of adjusting and tweaking in terms of how it's managed, because there are times where, like, in Commander, you have a lot more like agency to draw, like to force draw your own cards and interact with people, where like everybody builds slowly. And Fab being a game where like every turn is important, there is the ability for like two people to just like look at you and be like, this guy is going to die, and then we're going to fight the other person, and we'll fight each other. And there's not a lot of like ways to encourage people to not do that, because that's the best way to play the format, no matter how much you politic, because it can't really do anything about it. There's no negates or cancellations, or like you can't counterspell people in this game. All you can do is defend yourself. That's the only way you protect yourself in this game. So it's a little weird in that sense. Like that's why UPF, I think, sometimes feels wonky, whereas like PvE has the potential to be the more casual format, because you can sit down and grab a beer and some pizzas and just play against the bad guy. And maybe there's a potential where they build it into the structure of the game where someone can be the bad guy, right? Like that's how Crisis Protocol, which we play, has some formats where it's like you can either all play against an AI, or someone can be the bad guy and they fight 2 or 3 people. And I think if they build that into PvE, it'll create a good casual format that feels actually casual, where UPF can feel just kind of wonky sometimes, because I don't know, it doesn't feel super interactive like
something
UPF
that I hope,
doesn't.
Something that I hope that they're doing with it, that I would like to see, I guess this is something that's in my head that I feel like they could do that would cause them a lot less like stress on their capabilities. Jason, kind of speaking to your point, is I hope that they create an outline and that it lets the community work within a rule set. They aren't putting things out for it. They're saying these are the guidelines. This is what the big bad deck can contain. This is what, like this is the limitations on building the big bad, right? And then like letting the community run wild with it. And then it's not them putting out PvE products. It's not like Marvel, not Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol,
not Crisis Protocol.
They do it in that game where they release like sets, things to
what's
buy.
the other card game? What's the card game?
Oh god,
Champions. Not like Champions where they're releasing like packs, right?
Yeah, you buy a pack for it.
Yeah, not that. I just want the rule set. Let the community build like, oh, I built this crazy like Azeroth big bad based on the guidelines. This is what the big bad deck has, and then you get to bring your blitz decks to it, and it's for 3 people, and like letting that run its course, because the community will do that. They'll go nuts, and that'll be awesome. And that will take very little brain power on LSS's part, and I think that could be a really cool
you just create like a scaling system for the bad guys' health and stuff like that. If you have this many people, it's this much health. That many people, that much health. They do this on their turn, you do this. Just make it really generic, so it's not like and people can make it as complicated or as simple as they want, right? The deck can have some crazy combo wombos, or it can just be really straightforward and you're just
or
fighting
even just like big tournaments be like, this is like, that's what they do. They release like one big bad at a big tournament, and it's like, this is the new big bad, this is like the new character that's like new, and it's lore and a little spiel, and that's great. And then you can build that based, like, it uses commons and rares and all that stuff from generics or whatever it is, and you can at the tournament play into it, and then from that point on you can look up what the deck is online and go nuts with it around your kitchen table. So that'd be cool. I'd be down with that. If it turns into Champions, I'd be like, all right, come on. But
if it's like a separate thing they sell,
which it could be, because, and I like this product. I'm very, very excited for Classic Battles. I will buy that.
Yeah,
I'm very excited because I think that's probably the way, if it's designed the way they're saying it, and it turns out that well, it's the best way. New player shows up, pick a hand, any hand, you take that deck, I take this deck, and we're going to play this game. And as a player that knows both decks, it's easier to help them through the game.
I just
Yeah.
imagined it not being not being designed the way that they're saying it. Like they just lied, like in all of the details. If it's designed
Well, I mean,
the way that
the
they're
starter
saying
decks.
it's not, they're just like, fuck you guys, we gotcha. And Jason's like, I knew
Well,
it wasn't designed the way that they were saying it.
I'm just looking at starter decks that they're not equal, right?
Yeah.
Starter
Yeah.
decks aren't equal.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be equal. They weren't. So
Yeah.
unless they're like, no, we made 4 starter decks. Yeah, one's really, really shitty. And then there's one that's super, super good. So
Yeah.
if you want the shitty one, go ahead. You know, that's your guy.
Play Prism, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. Just the whole
Mhm.
product seems super awesome. I think that's the type of product this game needs, is the one-offs that are a little bit different, a little more special, has very cool things in the decks, has the lore, has the you know, probably the foldable playmat that doesn't sit perfect but still works, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
well, anytime you play a first game, I've always used the foldable playmat that comes with the starter set.
I mean, it's got the little
gives
like,
you the
words
zones.
and the
Yeah,
snippets.
it's
but, like,
everything.
this
It
is
usually
the-
gives you tips.
the turn
Yeah,
phases.
they're
and all that
great.
Stuff. Yep.
So
They're nice.
super excited.
Yeah.
We
I was
covered
really-
UPF.
Yeah, I was really happy with the announcement that Commoner is like an official format that they would support and put rules to. So like there's an actual rule set for that now that's official from the company. Like, that's really cool. I know people like Commoner formats, like Pauper formats are usually pretty big in games.
Here's negative Jason again. Like the commoner format, I'm glad they have it and put it out. And I think that's more of a Magic people that wanted it. Anybody that said they want commoner played Magic that I know of. Like anybody that I know in our local group that said they should do commoner are all Magic players. I will never play commoner. I'm not going to break my decks and put them together. If I'm going to break apart a deck to put together something awesome, I want to do a no ban list where we have Seeds, Chain, Cheerios, Briars, Ball, Lightning, Bravos, just crazy broken decks. That's what I would rather have fun with, is no ban list. Drone of Brutality's fucking everywhere. Just plunder runs, just going nuts with broken cards where everybody's got broken decks.
Right. I will say the Commoner thing is like a really good example of like a Commander style format. So in Magic, obviously everybody knows Commander came from the community. They designed Commander, and Magic
EDH,
picked it up as an
baby.
official for it. Yeah, it was EDH, and then it's like now it's Commander. They make decks for it, stuff like that. Commoner is a format that was effectively made by the community, and then they have allowed it to be run at events. They've done it at events. They've just never officially made it a format. But if you look at the rules, it follows all the rules that have basically been tried by the community. So all the testing for Commoner has effectively been done by the community at events. They've run it at callings as side events. People run it at their locals. So I think like this is a really good example of how they can source a lot of the like legwork for some of these simple formats that people want to the community. They didn't spend a bunch of time. The most time they spent was typing it out and putting it in the article and saying, hey, Commoner's an official thing. It's on the website. Like now it's official, but which is good. You know, you make it official. That's always good. Embrace it as a company, because if it doesn't take you a bunch of time to do it, which this clearly didn't, all it does is make more people feel wanted, right? Like people who want to play it are like, oh, cool. They, you know,
It's good they made it. It was simple.
Yeah, it was easy. It didn't take a bunch of time. Perfect format.
Well, this next part is a part that I think we get to go off on a little bit. It's a positive thing, but based on a group chat that you weren't in, Dane, that I heard was said, I'm ready to say some stuff about this. So the next thing,
part 3,
is part 3 ELO, which I think is great that you can get ELO and it's rated differently. Okay. In our group chat, it was said that was it Arsenal Pass or somebody said, well, then top players aren't going to play.
Adam mentioned that somebody said you might lose top players who don't want to play at locals to risk their ELO.
Right. Yeah. Which I will respond with, if you're that much of a pussy that you can't go to your locals because you're afraid that in a pro quest you're going to lose ELO, then you don't deserve the fucking ELO that you have. All right? Go play the goddamn, I'm going to lose ELO because I might lose. Well, then you suck, right? just go play the game. All right, that's what it's for. You earn your ELO, and like Blake said in the chat, fine. You don't want to play; it's gonna fall with time because you're not showing up
Stop.
to events.
Yeah, Body talked about that.
Guys.
DK ELO.
Everyone got super robot-y there.
Oh, okay.
Jason, I think I can fix what you were saying. All right, we'll just continue.
All right, yeah.
Where were we? Pausing. Yeah,
Body. Yeah, Nick said it.
Like,
so body brought up the idea of like decaying ELO. So basically, if you don't play in certain events over a period of time, you just naturally lose it. Like because you have to put it on the line. If you're not willing to risk it, you're gonna lose your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is basically the equivalent of what they do in like fighting. Like combat sports, right? A lot of the combat sports like boxing and MMA and stuff. If you hold a title, you're required as part of holding that title to defend it a certain amount of times every year or every season or whatever. And I think that, in my opinion, that's the way it should be. Guys in combat sports, right? Like boxers who win the belt and then dodge certain people because they're afraid that their style is going to naturally counter theirs. They could lose their title. It's like those guys don't deserve the title. They should just automatically be forced to give it up because they're cowards. If you want to play the game, play the game. If you think you're the best, prove you're the best. If you're afraid to risk your ELO, like I would play for ELO at locals. And that says a lot because this group right here on this podcast, like we are unafraid to take random decks. I went to locals this week and I had 3 decks and I literally told Cody, I was like, which deck should I play? And I let someone else pick the deck that I played. I ended up playing Dash. You know, the last time I played Dash was months ago. I switched cards in the deck before the tournament started. I was like, I'll just do it. Like, I think if you want to be competitive, play the game.
Yep.
If you don't, then don't. But don't complain about ELO being risked at events. Like that's what the game is about. It's about competitive play. If you're afraid to lose ELO because you think you're going to lose to some rando at a pro quest, like bro, just give it up. Just forfeit your gem ID now. Like go run and hide. I'm not about that life. Somebody wants to call me out for a game, let's play. Like I'm like if you're afraid to play people, yeah,
just play. The next part, I'm excited to hear Dane's part because his beef was with this part. So Dane, let's talk about it.
Oh, the weapons thing.
A weapon is being buried with the hero.
You made it out to be like way bigger of a beef than it is.
Well,
just don't
make
like
it. Just you know what? Come on, go off. Just get it out of you.
Yeah,
get it out
I
of
think
you.
It's
right?
really stupid, and I just can't stand the fact that like, dude, it's totally just like the RPGer in me, like playing Dungeons and Dragons and shit. It's like I love the idea of 5 years from now, some new guardian being able to grab like Bravo's hammer, like Anathos, and like have that be used. It's like, but why? But no. When Bravo is retired from the game, so is his hammer. And that's just,
you know why? Because thematically they will move on to the format of legends, right? They're going to be in this legendary format. So when they ascend to a new level, they will take their weapon with him. Bravo wouldn't be like, I'm going to a new level. I'm ascending above the peasants below me. I now wear the crown as the one legend in this game. I'm taking my hammer with me. And when someone is ready, they can come fight me in a battle of legends. But no one's going to be hanging out, smacking people around with Anathos. This is my weapon. It belongs to me.
Okay, you sold me on it. My beef's gone. Next.
So here, let's just talk about something here real quick about these. Number 1, Chain. When he goes, the Galaxy Black goes, oh no, we're going to lose Galaxy Black.
Yeah,
so that one cracks me up. That one cracks me up. The Hexagore, widely used by all Lavia players. That'll go when she runs into Living Legends in the year 2032. And then you have Edge of Autumn with Ira. Ira actually has a chance of hitting Living Legends, and then we're gonna lose the Edge of Autumn, the weapon that everybody uses. I mean, Edge of Autumn, 2 of them. You run 2 of them in.
I mean, yeah, looking at like Prism hitting it and losing Luminaris, but
which is weird. How did they decide? Is that
So
it's
I think
weird to me that some had the weapon choices that they made.
Like, what do you mean?
and most of them make sense though, because they're basically just the
Yes.
weapon in the picture.
Yeah.
Right. It the Luminar, just
Is there
because
a case of it
Prism,
where it's not the weapon in the picture?
I look at the common weapons that came out. And it might be just because the way the sets changed so much that the weapons were tokens early.
How fucking crazy would it have been if like when Prism hits Living Legend, no more Iris.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's basically like Bravo with Anathos. That was the token card. That was the
Right. Yeah.
you know the Iris was a token card.
I mean,
It's
I
just
think
weird the way
feasibly
they reversed
Briar
all that.
would have been Dawnblade, but Dawnblade was pre-banned. You know, like there's
Duskblade.
or Duskblade. That's what I meant.
Duskblade.
No, and then
I mean,
what is the weapon
yeah.
for?
Would she been Duskblade?
She holds Rosetta Thorn. She's
No,
like
right.
in her art, she's got Rosetta.
But I'm saying that's the Majestic for her because for
That's the
Bolton it's
Majestic for
Raiden,
her,
right?
yeah.
Raiden gets
Right. Yeah.
That's the Majestic for him.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like I will say, it's more problematic for some of the classes than others, right? Like
Lexi Holden.
now, granted, some of them will be like unaffected because realistically, you know, there are certain heroes who it's like, to Jason's point, right? If Chain or Viscerai left, no one's going to be upset about Galaxy Black or Nebula Blade, but there are certain classes where like Kasai
Whale
leaving would affect literally every single warrior in the game. Because Centauri Sabers, there's a build for Centauri Sabers for every single warrior.
That's true.
And like KO would affect all of the brutes if KO went out, because
Yes.
Mandible Claws are played by all the brutes. Whereas like Anathos or Dawnblade, like yes, people play weird builds of certain guardians with Anathos, but if you're not playing Winter's Wail with a guardian, you typically just play the Sledge, because it's 4 for 6 reliably versus 2 cards. You're gonna basically paying 2 cards for 6, which is what you're doing with Anathos. You just need Tectonic Plating to do it. So like some of them to me make more sense than others for sure. They're a little odd. I think, you know, I don't know. I'm unbothered by it because I think some of them some of them are thematically just correct. I know people are like, it's a TCG, you need a bigger card pool. It's like, well, number one, what other warrior are you running Dawnblade in? I don't see a lot of Bolton Dawnblades running around. Like that's
my new spice.
That's like the old Kasai Dawnblade. You know, it's a super popular deck in the format down in Blitz. So if Dory leaves, like we're gonna lose a whole deck. You know, I don't know. Some of them, it's like I like the thematic nature of it more than anything. I think a lot of people are probably now considering the potential of just like letting Katsu Living Legend out because they're tired of dealing with Kodachis. But
yeah,
people like, wait, so if we just let Katsu get Living Legend, we never have to take another Kodachi again? Oh man,
Autumn Edge.
That's enticing.
Or is Autumn Edge two-handed?
Edge of Autumn is two-handed. Yeah.
Nobody plays it. How the hell am I supposed to know that kind of stuff?
Because
when's the last time you've gone against that card?
Because why would
I've never faced that card?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the other thing is the ones, some of them like Luminaris. The thing about Luminaris or like Raiden, theoretically, in order to even have them playable in another deck, you're going to need another Light Illusionist or Light Warrior, in which case they will probably get their own weapon when they come in anyway. So it won't really do, you know, they probably won't want to do what that weapon's doing anyway. So
part of me is like, we got to include weapons in this. I think that they did that. We got to include weapons in this because we got to get the Luminaris the fuck out of here so we can start designing other stuff for next Light Illusionist.
Yeah, that's all. It's all her fault. So everybody who's angry, be angry at Prism.
I mean, it's pretty much the wrap of 2.0.
I'm fine wrapping it here.
May 6th, history packs drop. Then we got classic battles right after Pro Tour,
Mhm.
and then Uprising the end of June, which will be cool to see what comes out of Uprising. Big, and now we wait another 3 weeks for the next ban list to give the 11 days of testing before Pro
May
Tour
2nd.
and calling Jersey.
Yep.
But I mean, hopefully we see the star of the show gone before Pro Tour.
Who knows? Man.
That might happen on its own. We'll learn a lot, won't we? Is the calling in Poland this weekend? Does that has multiple constructed events, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, he could rack
So
there. Yeah.
he could get some points there, and then we have a few others. So we'll.
And other than that, I'll be interested to see for other interesting point that I learned on Alpha Investments. Everfest with the September release is not a guaranteed release date. This was very interesting. So James White said, we're putting that date in because people keep asking, and it's our customer service is getting tied up over that question. So we're just putting that as a placeholder. If the product is not needed, we will delay it. So we're not just going to shove it out there if the product's not needed. It's there for a placeholder. Very good. I like everything about that. Don't throw the product out if the market doesn't need it.
Yep.
Because as we've seen with Crucible, you could get boxes for a while when it first came out, then they just disappeared. That product is great. Crucible still, when you see there, it's fun to crack Crucible packs. I think Everfest will have that same long-lasting, good feeling. You know, a year from now, a new player comes in. Yeah, you should buy some Everfest because you're going to need it. There's good cards in there that will help your deck. There was definitely good cards for a lot of good classes in that. So great product. So then October, November, and Q4. So lots of interesting stuff. I'm guessing we'll get some more classic battle type product, and then whatever booster sets they come with. But yeah, all in all, very positive 2.0.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
I like all of it now. Didn't like the weapon.
Yeah.
Was convinced otherwise. The weapon's
Yeah,
great.
you're
Love
changed your mind.
Yeah.
I still don't like cosplay. So that's the only thing. Sorry, people. Just don't like it. Sorry. Now it's just funny to me that
Jason's found a button. He's gonna keep pushing it.
yeah, exactly.
Classic. If he could get a rise out of people, he's definitely gonna keep doing it. So like people. This is like a classic example of like a younger sibling kind of situation, right? Where like if your younger sibling keeps doing something, your parents are just like, just ignore him and he'll go away. Cosplay people, just ignore Jason. Don't acknowledge it. If anything,
This literally,
encourage it.
if we don't see a comment on it this week, I guarantee you next week it won't be a thing.
But if there's comments, it's coming.
There's comments. It's gonna keep coming back. It's gonna keep coming back. How have people not picked up on that? We're so many episodes in.
No, I don't like. They just get so upset over nothingness. Like, we're just talking here. Don't get upset. It's fine. You can do whatever you want to do.
You live your best life. We don't care. We really don't.
All right.
Just let us live ours.
Yep.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us for another week. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you next week. Peace.
Yep. All right.